He's about to.
Oh. I missed that. I was like, "Hey, Jamie, how are you?"
Steve wants me to.
Yeah, perfect. I don't know. How does that work? Chris, if they have something to hand out,
That's fine.
just hand it to everybody. Okay.
Since she'll probably come up as a for public comment.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
However,
Yeah, that's from like Steve had sent it in.
Yeah. Clear today, like 9 a.m. this morning or something. Yeah.
For me.
So I think Mark might be joining us. So I can give him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And he can have mine. I know exactly what it is. Yeah. Okay.
Talked to Steve the other day about.
Okay.
He really went to Breslin and did it too aggressively, kind of bumped his head.
Oh.
So she called me, she's like. I don't think so.
You know what? When my son was about a little bit older than yours, he like did a bumble. I put him on the counter for cooking dinner. Idea. And he stood up and I turned around and watched him fall flat on the ground. And I was like, I'm an idiot. And took him to
Oh,
the
thank
yard.
you. Yeah, my first.
But you have no idea how many people do that.
Thank you for.
Hi.
Very.
How are you? Oh, hanging in.
You're here. Yep. Double.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it was, they're like, this happens so often, and so ever since that was from like, wait, I'm like, okay.
Google's both dilating. Cheating.
There's not a.
Yeah.
Discussion about that.
Anxiety, super simple. Having been in nursery, so. Yeah, so. I was like, he took a nap and he seems a little grumpy.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Grumpy when he wakes up in the evening.
Yeah, totally.
Like that bluff.
That's not gonna go over first. Thank you. He might be on Zoom, it sounds like, and Jackie's on Zoom. Oh my God. So printed
I
everything.
didn't know that, but Chief, is Chandra here or no? Are you gonna do this or?
It's dinner.
Oh, is she here?
She's gonna.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, perfect.
But he was okay, huh? All
Yeah.
good, good.
He didn't sleep great last night, so he's been kind of grumpy all day. She's like, he seems happier than usual. I'm like,
They're neighbors.
so I have his name. It's gonna be hard to kind of.
You're like, we're from here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the sleep looked nice. My son woke up the other morning and was work. He had a night. Oh, shoot. It's the stage. So no, we were out. They didn't see on Zoom.
That still happens to me. But I'm an adult, so I don't have to wake anybody up.
No. What, your phone?
Thank you.
Is that a petition? I get that. An hour?
Yeah.
No, I'm up.
Oh.
45 seconds. We're good to go? We're all good? Mark?
Close my eyes. I see.
Okay,
This.
gotcha.
Right? It was whatever dream you come.
That's.
God, that's terrifying. He's scared too.
I went through a phase like 3 months ago or something. It was like every dream. But I wasn't watching him that show. It's already up kind of.
Already that time.
I used to watch her Walking Dead and it was like,
Yeah.
I gotta stop watching the shows. That's funny.
Wow.
Just FYI, we're waiting for some people to get on, right? So
Yeah.
we'll
Oh, there
just
he
be a
is.
second.
I see him. Looked like he's on. Okay, let me call to order the October 14th city council meeting. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Oh, there. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Roll call, Shelley. And present.
Where is it?
Present. Present.
Present. Councilmember Navarro,
Present.
Member LaFar,
Present.
Councilmember Cookson.
Present.
Right, we're all here. And next, we're going to move on. Thank you all for being here. We're going to move on to citizen comments. This is an opportunity for the public to provide comment to our city council. And I do have several folks signed up, so I'm going to start at the top. Mr. Steve Forbes. And again, please state your name and your address for the record. And because of the amount of people, could you please, and then, and Mr. Forbes, if you can state your name and your address for the record, and please limit your
Steve
comments to 3
Forbes.
minutes.
I live on Sunrise Drive, 2209. And pleased to be here tonight. Usually I'm sitting back there, but thank you for hearing our requests, Your Honor, council members and staff. A lot of staff. Great. Before I get to that, I wanted to just make some comments about two people that are leaving the council here in the next couple of months. Miss Teresa and Mr. Paul. Good friends. I've watched them over the years. Amazing talent, probably about 40 years each of, okay, 50. So you guys have a century of work. And it's been wonderful getting to know you and getting a little information from the knowledge, the vast knowledge that you have. So thank you. I'm here on behalf of the citizenry of those who live along a corridor, and that's Sunrise Drive. And as you know, 8th Avenue comes along the west side of the elementary school, the high school fields, then takes a sharp left up the hill and over, and that becomes Sunrise. It intersects with Golden Hills and then proceeds a few hundred yards and tees the stops. It's become a major thoroughfare over the last few years. And then there's been a monumental change just happened maybe 2 months ago when the parking lot at the high school got opened up on the west side. So that additional traffic is taking place. So there are, so for full disclosure, Danielle lives on the street. I have provided to you something that her mother and others have helped prepare about Sunrise Drive. And these are just proposed thoughts. She's got a lot more. I've got 2 other pages of ideas on that. And then my neighbor, who was Vanna White earlier handing out, Jamie, lives on the corner across from the mini park at Golden Hills and Sunrise. So we want to just put forth the legitimacy of the safety issues that are taking place there. 2 days ago, I was out there with Ricky and I heard someone coming southbound and I look at him and he's not going to stop there. There's a stop sign, it's flashing and he's going 50. And I put one foot on the street and he slams on the brakes, you know, and that's not atypical. Jamie has 3 children, roughly 2, 4, and 6. And Danielle has a number of folks. I mean, how many have?
3.
3. My next door neighbor has 8. Across the streets 2. And he's a state patrolman as well.
Steve, time's up.
Okay. So we're asking for you to consider a number of possible ways to slow down the traffic. So thank you.
Thank you.
Only 5 minutes?
And Steve, and I appreciate that you provided some options for us to consider. That's great. Thank you. Okay, Joyce Schmidt. Joyce, are you here? And again, just please state your name and your address for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Thank you, Joyce.
Things that I want to talk about. My name is Joyce Schmidt. I live at 609 West 6th Street, right
down from the barn. I'm a walker now because I have developed emphysema, and to build up my lungs, I'm walking. So I'm seeing a lot of cars parked across the crosswalks to the point, I brought this up with the planning committee last night. Wheelchairs would not be available to the ramps because they're parked in front of it. I would like the curbs, or suggest that the curbs be repainted again with yellow because they have diminished. Then I want to ball you out. Mayor, you said 2 years ago that you had talked with the legislature and they were going to do something about 904.
The state.
They haven't.
2029, it's on their schedule for 2029. For
I
904.
thought it was going to be in 2 years.
No.
Then I want to ball. Cheney has got something against the vets. Thank God Gonzaga like Bing Crosby. We have a vet park across from the fire department. They let it burn up this year, and I've heard that it's on a different well. Then borrow, steal, buy, do whatever you can and get from the college. They're just across the street, and they have very green grass. We let ours get burned up. I couldn't ball you out last time because it rained and it was green. Have our standards lowered that we can park any way we want on the streets? We can park on the left-hand side and or right side. We do not on my side of the city. Very few sidewalks. So it makes street walkers. Humans cannot compete with electric bicycles, electric scooters, and cars. I know that each one of you have had a time with cars on 3-lane traffic streets, highways, or whatever, and get irritated, as I do, with darting cars jumping in and out, trying to get by and get ahead. They do that on the campus. Most of my walking is on the campus. I would suggest to the campus, at least suggest to them, that they tell their scooters and bicyclists that there is a speed limit, and or suggest that they put a trail, as we have bicycle trails in that on streets. They put trails on there. I can't hear them. They don't, and they come up from behind you. And man, I'm telling you, they're going way faster than 3 miles an hour. They can go up to 18. That isn't fair for the walkers. Or has the college became, we can't be there. And like I said, I live on the side of the city that we don't have sidewalks. What happened? Did our standards fail?
Thank you, Joyce.
I rest my case.
Thank you, Joyce. I appreciate you. Margot Buckles. Hi, Margot.
Hi, my name is Margot Buckles. I live at 15205 South Golden Eye Lane in Cheney. And I'm speaking about the comprehensive planning session that we had last night at the planning meeting. You all know the history of the Cheney co-housing. The city had at one time was really supportive and helped us apply to the county to bring the 2 parcels that we purchased for our project into the urban growth area. When it went up to the county basically kicked it back and said that the city was going to have to incorporate the land during the comprehensive planning period ending in 2026. Last night at the Planning Commission, we got the news that Nexus believes that this decision is a county decision and not a city decision, which pretty much was a real downer for us, basically. And so we have a high level of frustration because we really don't know what the process is for bringing these parcels into the UGA so that we can go forward with our project. So after the planning commission meeting last night, I have a couple of questions for city council. And obviously these are rhetorical and I'm not expecting an answer, but I kind of want them on the record. One is, what is the process for bringing land into a city's urban growth area? The county says that it's a decision of the city. Last night, we heard from the city that it's a decision of the county. There's like no rules that we can find. And so we're incredibly frustrated with this process. There haven't been any clear guidelines or criteria for us to follow. The process is very convoluted and it seems to be quite arbitrary. So we keep moving forward. We think we're doing the right thing, but every time we run into some kind of a roadblock. My second question is, why is Cheney wasting its money on Nexus? Last night, we came to the planning commission hoping to hear an update. And basically what we saw was the same presentation that we saw back in November, December. As far as I could tell, Nexus hasn't done any work. So I hope you aren't going to pay them for work that happened between December and yesterday. So, you know, I wonder if the reason that the city has hired and is using Nexus is just so it can say, well, we did something to get feedback from our citizenship about the Growth Management Act. And so we've completed whatever we require under the state's legislation. But there doesn't really seem to be any movement or planning going on, really. Nexus claims that Cheney needs to plan for over 700 lower income housing units. But my question is, where are those going to go? It isn't very clear from the information that Nexus provided. Are they going to go inside the city limits? Because Nexus says that there isn't any need to change the limits of the city or expand the urban growth area. I mean, if infill is going to be the policy, how are you going to force citizens to build more housing on their land? It just doesn't seem feasible.
Thank you.
And, oh, I just have one more question, if you don't mind. And does anybody really understand the maps that Nexus shows? They all look the same to me. So, my final question is, you know, is the city council planning on letting the county dictate land use in the area surrounding Cheney? If you don't make changes to the current city map, the urban growth areas, so that there are places available to build housing, new housing, Cheney is going to stagnate, and you guys are going to be responsible for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Kit, is Kit here? I didn't see Kit. Oh, there he is. Again, please. So we got a lot of people. Name, address,
Just
please
really
limit it
quick.
to 3 minutes, please.
Kit Franzik, Jennifer Franzik, 905 Golden Hills. I spoke last city council about concerns about the plethora of fiber options being authorized in the area. And afterwards, I did some research about other cities that have ordinances or whatever you call it to limit some of that activity. I'm just gonna jump through a few of these for interest of time. Term limits. One city had the franchises would expire after 5 years and then require a renewal. Compensation, annual compensation fees for inspections, reviews, basically the cost of the city to do their work, ensuring that things are happening the way they're supposed to be happening. What else?
These are all cities in Washington, by the way. These are not cities in other states. So this is
Yes.
happening within the state of Washington.
What else? Requiring additional conduits be placed instead of just that company's installation, additional additional conduits for whatever. Talking to Next Gen, they're actually installing more so that they can lease out the extra bandwidth. It seems like a great idea. One that really stood out was Seattle. Seattle, for every 1 of 5, they require an additional for just the city conduit. That's beyond 2. It's legal use, but 1 for every 5 for city use. That seems like a great opportunity to lease to companies and provide that as a utility from the city. Probably not using the right words there, but what else?
But I mean, there's a whole host of other options, but those are just a few quick highlights. But the cities are then making money off of these options as well. And they're limiting, so their citizens and customers are not just hit repeatedly with these companies coming in and destroying property over and over and over again.
Basically without limits. Another one was interesting. I'm not sure exactly how this works, but appeal processes, grievance processes for denial and granting. So allowing for a process for removing those franchises when things aren't working out the way they're supposed to work out. Thank you.
Thank you. And Bonnie.
Thanks for letting us speak. I'm Bonnie Mager, 15220 West Dairy View Lane. I also attended with a couple other members from the Cheney Co-Housing last night's planning committee meeting. To say we're frustrated is an understatement. We've been working on this project with the city and the county since 2019. I have 3 requests for the city. The first one would be to have the map that Lexus grudgingly put together and is holding and saying it's not for public review yet. Have them give you that, and I would like to request a copy of it. The second is to please have someone from the council attend the meeting so that when Mr. Chesney gets up and says Cheney doesn't need any additional land to grow. We've been hearing that Cheney needs additional land to grow for at least 8 years since I've been watching this process. And the third is to please make it known when Mr. Chesney does. Let's push back so that Cheney will have the land to grow and develop and the economic. We have lots of people. Gosh, my husband was a professor for 20 years, and there's plenty of people who'd like to move to Cheney and would like to help be part of this community, but can't find any housing that's fit to live in. I mean, I don't mean it that way, but there just isn't. There's a dearth of houses. There's a lot of rentals, and based on the map that we've seen, if the zoning follows the map that Nexus is putting out there, we'll have homes. We won't have any additional development, but we'll have homes split up into duplexes and fourplexes in one home, which really amounts to a lot more rentals when what we need are homes for families here in Cheney. So I would urge you to please take some action before it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. And you all got an email from former council member Jill Wiseman regarding the SAFER grant. Those are the folks that signed up, but we do have a lot of people here. I want to give everybody an opportunity if they wish to speak. Anybody wish to provide comments to our council? Seeing none, how about anybody that's joining us via Zoom? Anybody wish to provide comments to our council? Going once, Going twice? Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on. We have two council meeting minutes to approve. The first one is from the September 18th Special Joint City Council Planning Commission meeting. You've had an opportunity to review those, and if there's no corrections, then I'd accept the motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve our minutes from our September 18th meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, okay. Minutes are approved. And the next one is our regular city council meeting from September 23rd.
What else?
I'm so moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve our minutes from our September 23rd meeting. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Okay. Minutes are approved. Okay. Vouchers and payroll. Cindy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Total expenditures of $1,435,751.79. Other payables of $27,778.59 for a total of $1,463,530.38 and total payroll of $1,219,150.37.
Finance, these items, I would move approval.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve vouchers and payroll as presented. Any questions for Cindy? If there's none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, thank you, Cindy. Vouchers and payroll are approved. You can see the small contracts, the cover replacement there at City Hall. And we've got some exciting things. We've got a swearing in of Officer Cole Davies. Chief Oaks, come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. It's my privilege to introduce Officer Cole Davies to you guys. Cole came to us from EWU-PD as a lateral, and he is also a veteran of the Coast Guard. He does not have a decaf setting, so his energy is contagious. Just leave it at that. He's a go-getter, and we're super excited to have him as part of our team. And no doubt you will see him out there, no doubt. So
Already have.
yeah, right.
And then we'll come up for a swearing in with Shelley.
Practically driving there.
Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington. And the city of Cheney. And I will faithfully discharge. The duties. Of the duties of police officer to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Welcome. Thanks, I appreciate it. Welcome aboard. I drive a red truck. Never gets old, I love it.
Congratulations, Officer Davies. Next, Chief Jenkins, if you could come on up.
Shelley, were you gonna work on the slide for me?
I'm getting it right now.
Thank you.
Got another informational item regarding the Department of Emergency Management.
Yes, I am honored to introduce and welcome our Deputy Director of Spokane County Department of Emergency Management, Chandler Fox. Chandler's been in Spokane County for almost a decade now and has worked extremely hard and diligently trying to make that such a professional organization for Spokane County with emergency management. So Chandler worked extremely well with all of us emergency first responders in the county, especially on the hills of the Gray Fire and Oregon Road Fire. And she's still dealing with that mass cleanup effort there with the cities of Medical Lake and Elk community. So Chandra's got a presentation for you this evening, Chandra. And Shelley, you said this clicker works.
Okay, so where that way or okay, great. So, Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you very much for the time tonight. I don't know if Chief Jenkins explained to you earlier, we are in the midst of some heated budget discussions with the county leadership, and in the interest of full transparency, as City of Cheney is one of my customers, I want to be sure that you all have a very clear picture of the conversations that we're having, the situation that we're in, and a little bit of background. So, bottom line up front, all of our programs and functions are statutorily required. That was one of the questions put to me by the Board of County Commissioners, is how much of what we do is required? And the answer to that is everything that we do. The challenge is that emergency management is very heavily reliant on human capital. We are a people-focused endeavor, both those of us who provide the work to our communities. Specific to our budget, because we have been mindful of the county's challenges over the last several years, our existing M&O is only $50,000. So there's really nothing there to cut further. We have no non-essential persons. All of our staff positions are important, and they all have specific functions that we rely on. Additionally, we have 2 grant-funded positions, and that is under threat as well. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But the final bullet there is we provide the county's program. So we are the county's emergency management office. And through the interlocal service contract that we have with you, what that does is it allows the City of Cheney to basically get credit for all of the work that we do. So City of Cheney is compliant because our program is compliant. And so you have the benefits of all of the work that we do. So emergency management is governed by more than a dozen federal laws, policies, orders, and directives. The primary one being the Robert T. Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act. That is the one that really lays out how we respond to disasters. And then the list that you see there, whether it is EPCRA, which has to do with our hazardous materials management and planning, to disaster mitigation, and then a number of items specifically related to September 11th. And then you'll see a number of items there, the Post-Katrina Emergency Management Reform Act, the PETS Evacuation and Transportation Standards. Those came directly as a result of Hurricane Katrina. And then we have some general other ones as well. At the state level, we are governed by RCW 3852, Emergency Management. And what I wanted to point out here is the RCW defines emergency management and/or comprehensive emergency management as preparation for and the carrying out of all emergency functions to mitigate, prepare for, respond to, and recover from emergencies and disasters. The emphasis is mine, specifically all is the important word there. And then the next one, going further down into the RCW 3852-070, local organizations authorized. So this is the part of the RCW that both directs individual political subdivisions of the state. They must have a local organization to provide emergency management work. And again, emphasis mine there, shall perform emergency management functions. So we have an all functions followed by a shall perform. So everything we do is required. And the RCW is also supported by Chapter 11830 of the WAC, which gives additional detail on how we go about our comprehensive planning and some of our programmatic requirements as well. So within the United States, emergency management is designed to be a tiered system. And one of the basic premises of emergency management is that all disasters are local. And what that means is it happens to the local community. It's the local community that experiences the disaster. It's the local resources that are first on the scene. And then it's the local resources that remain on the scene to help the community through the recovery process and to whatever their new normal is. So what happens is, in the case of an emergency or disaster, the local municipality responds first with their resources. When those resources become exhausted, they can then reach up to us at the county. And as the county office, I have several options. So I can provide resources based on what I own or what the county owns, what we have available in county departments. But in Washington State, we also have the opportunity to go to other counties through what we call WAMAS, which is the Washington Mutual Aid System. And that allows me as a county director to reach out to other counties for any resources or support that they may have. We also maintain memorandums of understanding and agreements with other partner agencies or contracts. So I have the ability to reach out to agencies and contracts for additional help. If those resources are exhausted, then we move up to the state and we send resource requests to the state. It's basically the same as at our level, except with state agencies and state agreements. We have the EMAC, which is the Emergency Management Assistance Compact, and that allows states to reach out and request assistance to other states around the country. And finally, if the state resources are exhausted, then we can reach up to the federal government for federal assistance. Our challenge right now is the current administration is changing their relationship to the rest of us, state and locals, in terms of what they're willing to support for disaster response and recovery. We do not yet know what that's going to look like. I'm sure you've seen in the news, there's been a lot of talk about, certain factions want to completely eliminate FEMA. Others want to rearrange or reorganize FEMA, and nothing has been decided yet. What we do know for certain is that we are facing probably a 4-time increase in our disaster threshold. And what that means is in order to request federal assistance, we have to meet a certain amount of damages before we can even put the ask forward. That is now being suggested that be 4 times what it is now. So currently, our disaster threshold is $1.83 per capita. With the new regulation, 4 times that puts us up over $5. So that's a lot of money for us. And that's public infrastructure that has to be damaged and impacted. So when we talk about federal assistance, they don't really take into account individual damages. It's public assistance, and that has to be damage to public infrastructure. So any questions on that before I move on? Okay. So the unfortunate circumstances where we find ourselves right now. Obviously, you're aware the county has a reduced revenue forecast. All of our member communities are also struggling with revenue. So we're having challenges across the board with that. We have a historical lack of local budget support and an over-reliance on federal grants. Unfortunately, we are also facing the 100% loss of our EMPG, which is our Emergency Management Performance Grant, and SHSP, which is our State Homeland Security grant funding. While technically those grants have been awarded, the funding is being held for a number of different reasons. I'm sure you're aware there's a number of lawsuits going on, and FEMA DHS has put some additional requirements on that funding as well. And so the state is in the process of working through those and waiting for the outcome of the various litigations that are happening. The uncertainty of future grant funding, we don't know. We don't know if the federal government is even going to continue our programs beyond what is already in the 2025 budget. As I mentioned previously, uncertainty of future FEMA structure and programs. So we're unsure of how much federal assistance we will actually have. And then unfortunately, the same challenge we have here locally, the state has at the state level, because historically the state has failed to adequately fund state emergency management as well. Again, relying on those federal funds, which are now going away. So as I said, historically, we've been underfunded and understaffed. This chart provides you with just kind of an overview of the 5 closest counties to us in terms of population and staff. And you can see we're small and our budget is even smaller. Um, so our general fund budget is, this was from 2024 comparison, just because that was the easiest for me to pull from the rest of my colleagues. And you can see our closest neighbor, Cressa, which is Clark County. They're a true interlocal agency. They're an independent entity. Their budget is, $400,000 and change more than ours, and they have a larger staff as well. The final column there, dedicated EOC, is a dedicated emergency operations center. So that means, to be dedicated means that is what your space is. The space is always set up to function as your emergency management operations center, and we do not have that. So following the fires in 23, Sheriff Knowles made the decision that we would utilize the new training center as an alternate location if we had a large incident. And so we have spent the last probably 6 or 8 months working on that, because as you can imagine, it's a law enforcement training center. It was not set up to be an EOC. So we have had to make some additional investments in technology to support our operations there. We've made some changes in the classroom structure, and even doing that, if we are to use that facility, we will have to bring our own connectivity with us. So we have several, we have 2, we call them MNUs, mobile networking units, and they provide backhaul for cellular. It has satellite connectivity, and so we have to bring that with us in order to support our technology at the training center. The EMPG grants are super important. Our 10-year average is generally around $278,000. And that $278,000 provides us 2 full-time employees, and it provides virtually all of our discretionary funding. As I noted earlier, our M&O in the general fund is only $50,000, and that covers just our base operations. And so we rely on the EMPG grants for our discretionary funding. On the right, you will see all of our that's not all of our programs, that's the majority of our programs, everything from all hazards planning through NIMS compliance, training and exercise, LEPC, which is our local emergency planning committee. Again, that's hazardous materials, and EPCRA through public education. All of those activities are mandated, and they're supported directly by our EMPG grants. Our 2025 budget is about $882,000. And you can see the large light blue is our people. As I said, we're people heavy, and that includes my position, and then we're currently have 5 FTEs on general fund. The dark blue is our EMPG, and that funds 2 FTEs and our programs. And for this contract period, which ends the end of November, our current EMPG contract ends November 30th. That's $260,000 and change. And then that's our little M&O down there in the green. What's important to note here is the EMPG grants are only allowed to be 30% of your general fund. So as my general fund shrinks, so does my eligibility for the EMPG, because it can be no more than 30% of our budget. So our target budget for 2026, as assigned to me by the county commissioners, is $536,000. And of that, so this is just general fund. There's no grants here at all. So with $536,000, that will fund my position and 3 FTEs and leave us $46,000 for our M&O. I have impacts on the next slide. So lots of little tiny words. I apologize for the size of the font, but there's a lot of impacts. So when we lose people, we lose expertise and experience. With that, with only three staff people, we lose our 24/7 duty officer, which is something that Chief Jenkins alluded to. Without that duty officer position, then we're unable to provide the round-the-clock support that our first response agencies are expecting of us. We have no capacity to staff our county operations center, which leads to impacted support services and everything else. And you can just go down the list, but there's a lot of really unfortunate impacts to a loss of staff. So for 2025, this is from the budget office. So this is, you see Cheney there, the second line. So this is your expected cost share for 2025, just over $10,000 for that. And I want to point out, so our total budget up there, that's our general fund. So you do not see our existing grant represented in this particular chart. But what I do want to point out is the county does fully fund my position, as the requirement of the RCW is to have at least one individual in this role. The county fully funds my position, so my position is not part of the cost share that our other municipalities share. So next steps going forward, I'm working on an adjusted cost share estimate for our municipalities that have service contracts with us. I should have that out to you, hopefully by the end of this week. And then once I have that out to you, we'll have another policy board meeting with the rest of our contract municipalities. And I will take that information back to the BOCC, and we will continue the conversation with the county. So what I want to point out here, two last things that I want to leave you with. The laws requiring all the work are not changing. All of the hoopla that's happening around the funding and who's paying for what, that's all what's changing. The laws themselves are not changing. So we are still responsible for all of the work. And then finally, and as I said, this still remains to be seen, and we have no good feeling about when this is going to be resolved. But FEMA cannot be eliminated without Congress's approval, and they would have to actually rescind the Stafford Act in order to completely eliminate FEMA. The challenge is that the DHS secretary and the FEMA administrator have enough authority internally with DHS and FEMA to restructure or simply eliminate programs or decline to fund programs within the agency itself. So I believe that should be it. Yes. So thank you for the time. Any questions that I can answer for you?
Any questions for Shonda? Go ahead, Paul.
Thanks for the presentation. Appreciate it. Just for council's benefit, if we don't contract with the county, we have to do our own. And it's not near as cost effective by a long shot. But anyhow, the EMPG grants, you know, if they go away or any FEMA support, would we expect, you know, a significant increase in our annual allocation for emergency management planning services that you provide?
So as I said, I'm working on that now. My intent is to provide our contract cities with a range of options. I'm cognizant enough of everyone's challenges. I'm not going to come to you and ask you guys to fill the Delta. I know that is just not possible. And so I want to give the municipalities a range of options that we can discuss, and then take that back to the BOCC for additional discussion to see how the county feels about meeting the remaining Delta.
So with it, maybe county planning could kick in or something like that.
Yeah, I like, you know, we're essential is kind of the bottom line, and yeah.
Thank you.
I'm biased, so. Yeah. Is there anything else I can answer for you?
Any questions for John? Thank you. Mark or Jackie? Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
You're
Thank you
very
for-
welcome, and thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
Todd, do you want to introduce this next informational item?
Uniform, I think I got the right crowd here, so.
Some changes happening at Scraps.
I'll let him do it. I'll go. Oh, yeah, your scripts. That was the one that. Well, yeah, okay, we can use that. I'm more kind of a talker of whatever. Maybe stop doing the update. Windows 11, is that what it is? Yeah. Yeah, okay, all right.
Welcome.
Good evening, council members. I'm Scott Simmons, CEO of Spokane County. Apologize for being late. We had, our Board of County Commissioners had a public budget roundtable this evening. So tried to hustle out here as soon as I could afterwards. So thanks for having us today. Jess, go ahead. Have you come, Chris?
Yeah,
And
Chris
introduce
Miller.
yourself.
Chris Miller, Field Operations Manager. I'm the supervisor for the field officers for Scraps.
So we're here tonight, got invited out by Todd and happy to be in front of you all. We're talking about the Scraps interlocal agreements. And I get to wear multiple hats. Not only am I the CEO of the county, I'm also the acting director of Scraps. We have a interview process we're going through to try to find a replacement director for that position. So we've been, I think our relationship dates back to 2014-ish or so when Scraps was actually set up as a regional animal protection and control agency. And we are looking at all of our interlocal agreements. These are basically been year-to-year agreements with all of the jurisdictions. It's been in need of updating for quite some time. Like I said, it's been about 11 years. So I had communicated with Cheney and all the other jurisdictions back at the beginning of the year saying, hey, we're going to work on a new interlocal. We need to really bring it into line with what current activities are across the jurisdictions and what our current costs are. So when we sent that out, we said, hey, we'll be sending you a draft interlocal agreement in the coming months ahead. The coming months ahead became like 6 months, and here we are in budget season. And so obviously wanted to get out in front of you and talk to you all about it because I'm sure you're in budget deliberations as well. So why are we looking at a new interlocal agreement? The interlocal agreement, as I said, was back about 11 years ago. I wasn't involved. I've been at the county for about 4.5 years, so I don't know, have all the detailed information of how these historically got together. Scraps is really intended to be an enterprise fund, as you're all familiar with enterprise funds. And the cost of the services, the revenue that we bring in should offset the cost to all the jurisdictions. That doesn't preclude our obligations to make sure that we're managing a cost-effective operation for Scraps for all of our jurisdictions. We appreciate the regional partnering because it is important. I think together we're better, and together we also can have more economies of scale with our operations and our services. So the interlocal agreement that is in front of hopefully all of you that you've had a chance to take a look at is contemplating all of our service costs that we provide, all the way from animal enforcement, calls for service out in jurisdictions, animal impounds, animal care when they come back into our facility, vaccinations, spay and neutering, adoptions back out to the public, and the circle of life around all that stuff. And what we have for each jurisdiction is an activity report that we track, and we send it out to the jurisdictions on a frequent basis. And it shows things that are activities generated within your jurisdictions, calls for service for a dog at large, dog barking, potentially dangerous dogs, and all the way up to dangerous dog designations that go in front of hearing examiners for appeal process. And then it also includes all of our costs for operating our facility, the animal care and the vaccinations and all that sort of stuff. So your activity is tracked for every single jurisdiction. We just presented out at Medical Lake last week. So the entire cost of the operation would be multiplied by your activity, your percentage activity, And then what we've done differently in this interlocal agreement is we really want to partner with the jurisdictions to help increase licensing. Licensing is important for a number of reasons. One, it allows if a owner loses their pet, the pet leaves their property, it allows for reunification. So we have the ability to identify who the animal belongs to because of the pet licensing, and we can reunite them with the family member quickly, or the owner quickly. So we've worked on kind of an incentive in there. So if you take your cost and then we're going to give a credit for all of your licensing fees that you generate within your jurisdiction. So if we partner together and figure out ways that we can promote the outreach and the better utilization and better obligations of owners to license their pets, then it's a benefit to you too, because it can keep your costs down in the system. I think right now, our estimates are probably 12% of owners license their pets. And that's pretty consistent across the country. We're not unique there, but we'd certainly like to do better. So with that, happy to take some questions. We've got in the interlocal agreement, we're really looking to have these entered into with each of the jurisdictions, targeting the beginning of November. It wouldn't be effective until January 1. Again, we didn't want to put something in front of the jurisdictions during the middle of your year, knowing that we've all working on budgets. We wanted to have something in place the beginning of January. You've probably seen the document that I sent out to Todd, and this was shared with the county commissioners. And the reality is Spokane County has been subsidizing the cost of these services for quite some time. So they charged me with going out and having conversations with each of the jurisdictions, get some questions back from them, answering those, and trying to manage this in a more cost recovery manner going forward. So I'll stop talking, see if there's questions from.
If I can interject, apologize, we don't have that annual, we just got it received a little while ago. It's being reviewed right now for Mike, and I was fully intending to bring it back to one of the committees, so.
We do know it's gone up a bit, is all.
Any other questions for Scott? Or Chris?
Yeah, appreciate you coming out. So you mentioned this is organized as an enterprise fund through the county. And the commissioners are the governing, or there's just another funding department within the county then. With regard to the licensing, so as I understand, Cheney has its own jurisdiction, would set her own licensing fees and enforcement for getting pets licensed. And then, the revenue would offset this contract, which I'm sure doesn't come near covering, but. And I know there was efforts in the past in working with Scraps to get word out as far as, microchips and getting pet license so that they can be found easier to find when picked up and all that. Where are you at with regard to your shelter and overcrowding or not overcrowded? I mean, everyone's having a problem with overcrowding, it seems, because I don't know if you have a no-kill policy or how that works, but is that part of the problem that we're seeing here with regard to cost control, is the overcrowding?
Not directly, and Chris can speak to some of this stuff as well. One of the things that I probably should have started with is not everyone knows what Scraps does, what the mission of them are. First and foremost, they're animal protection and control. What we're not is we're not a humane society. We're not a Spokanimal. Those are great organizations who bring pets either that we may transfer to them that are adoptable, or they bring them in from other jurisdictions. We don't get to choose the animals that come to us. Oftentimes these animals are on the road. We have to respond to a law enforcement call where someone's getting arrested and their animal has to come into our custody. A lot of our animals are safe and adoptable, but there are some animals that are not safe. They're not safe around other animals. They're not safe around people. The other thing that we do is our charge is to make sure that we're keeping pets safe from humans sometimes where they're not treating them well. We have to go out on calls for service where a particular property owner is hoarding a lot of animals. And we have county code that requires only a certain amount of animals per home. And these animals oftentimes aren't taken care of well. They're in unsanitary conditions. You may have seen one about, probably what, 8 months ago on the West Plains. Those things, sometimes we can take in 20, 40, 50 animals. Could be dogs, cats, could be horses, could be cows, could be pygmy goats. I mean, it could be all kinds of things. So we come across a lot, and depending on the intake, it does challenge our capacity at times. But we are always trying to find animals in the ones that we take custody of that we can adopt back out to the community. It is an action that we do and an activity that we do. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. There are animals that we have in our custody that are not safe to adopt out to the community. And in that case, we do humanely euthanize them. So we certainly don't endeavor to do that, but that is a responsibility. We can't in good conscience, we can't from liabilities purposes, put a dangerous dog out there who has a propensity to bite, who has attacked other dogs or has attacked humans as well. We just won't do that.
So there is a national crisis with overpopulation of animals. Not as many folks adopting, as well as veterinary medicine costs have gone substantially higher, and the economy being down, that kind of your everyday folks have a more challenging time getting pets fixed. And so we do have a high population of animals, limited medical resources for vet med for the community. And then scraps, so no kill is essentially national standard, is a 90% live release rate. Right now, scraps is in probably mid 80%, so probably 83 or 84% is the live release rate. So in Cheney, we actually had a case, it's been probably less than a month now, where it was a search warrant for a hoard, and we ended up with, 20, it's like 22 cats out of a residence in Cheney. And so as animal control and protection, we get search warrant, we conduct search warrants, and we end up with large seizures of animals from all of our jurisdictions, and it really inundates our capacity, right? And so we'll get a large volume of animals, which limits our ability to kind of take your over-the-counter strays. But our sheltering is a support function for our enforcement services. And so folks get pretty frustrated because they'll find like a friendly loose stray animal on the road, right? And we are the facility for that. We schedule appointments. So if somebody like a Good Samaritan finds an animal, picks it up, puts it in their car, and then they kind of take off with it, and they call us. We have, a limited amount of staff and a limited amount of physical space for animals and capacity for care. We have to basically factor in how much staff we have to provide the appropriate care for the animals that are currently within our custody. And so there is challenges with kind of friendly stray animals, right? Because those folks want something right now. Like, I have a stray animal in my car right now. I need to put it somewhere right now. And unfortunately, just due to the volume of animals we've been getting, kind of limited adoptions, as well as the overpopulation crisis, it's really a recipe for disaster. And it was really exacerbated through COVID. We also ended up with a bunch of unsocialized animals through that period. People were isolating. Veterinary medicine was more challenging to get, and it's just kind of a perfect storm in that regard.
Just as a follow-up, under that scenario, it's interesting if we had a situation where you had to get a search warrant. Is that under your purview, or is that under our police department?
So so for our authority comes through state law, and when we execute a search warrant, whether it's typically for animal cruelty or abandonment, we will have Cheney PD come and essentially back us. So we have them come with us to execute the warrants, but we're authoring the warrants and providing it to the judge who's either issuing it or not, and then basically logistically planning the execution of that.
So part of our scraps contract includes the cost for law enforcement for legal services to serve search warrants.
Yes.
But not for law enforcement. The cost that we incur just for our personnel, we get, if I'm not mistaken, we get escorted or we partner with the law enforcement agency that we're doing. But yes,
right.
We're not incurring costs on your behalf for them, but certainly it's one of your officers who is escorting our our animal protection officers to the location.
But you go through the cost of having a judge issue you a search warrant as part of scrap services.
Yeah, so that our officers, you know, through their investigations will write a search warrant, present it to a judge. And so it's staff time in performing those duties, and then logistically planning the seizures. It's typically, you know, warrants are normally larger scale where you're dealing with more than 10 animals. And so planning for the intake of those animals, logistically planning with other departments, a lot of times we'll incorporate code enforcement, adult protective services, child protective services, if we know there's other elements going on.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes. Thank you all for being here and sharing that information. We'll look forward to seeing that. Well, we've got the proposed
Yeah.
ILA.
And as you have questions in it, please, Todd or whoever can certainly reach out to us. We want to make sure we're as clear with the contract. And there's a couple of things that we've, as we've been doing some of our road shows, if you will, we've met with a number of city councils and we've gotten feedback from them. And I've asked of them the same thing. If there's something in the contract that's important to you to have us consider, we'll bring that back to all the jurisdictions, because our desire, when I didn't mention this earlier, 11 individual interlocal agreements were all very uniquely designed, and we're trying to harmonize them. As you can imagine, it's very hard to operationalize 11 different ways of doing business. So we're trying to harmonize those. We've already had one jurisdiction come back and ask us. We had some termination language in there. They just asked us to align their the city's termination notice 90 days prior to the end of the year. They asked us to align ours with what we're asking the cities, so we've agreed to do that. We're very cost conscious. We want to work with the jurisdictions to try to keep costs down. So we're welcome and open to ideas that you may have.
Wonderful. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, so it was kind of last minute, but I did believe I just received it, so I will be sharing probably that information. Yeah.
Okay.
So those documents are basically, it's a case summary. It shows the call types that they are,
good.
when they were received, when an officer responded, so you'll get a response time. It's also got the number of impounded animals from Cheney, as well as the citations and infractions that have been issued.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes our informational items, but we have several action items. And the first one is resolution F409. This is the Doppler 5-year contract. Steve Marks.
Evening, Mayor, evening, Council. This is a 5-year agreement with Doppler Response Management System. This is our basically 911 reporting system. They replaced it in 2022. We did a 12-month test pilot program with them. It was satisfactory. Then we went to a 3-year agreement, which is now due this year. They offered a 3-year, but I asked for a 5-year. They gave us a 10% discount on the price. We're very satisfied with the service. I think it's working like clockwork and we want to maintain it. So therefore, my recommendation, and the cost is $14,155 annually. That's shared between Public Works and the Light Department. So about $7,200 per department each year. After 5 years, you're looking at an approximate $86,400, and that includes the taxes. And then they have a technology refresh that at the last contract negotiation, they brought it down to 5%. On this one, it's at 10%. So there's a little bit more built-in cushion for any tax rates increases, but I think that 14,200 a year is a pretty solid number for that. So are there any questions?
Any questions for Steve? Good contract, good value for.
Yeah, Your Honor, the Public Works Committee's reviewed this and it's been working well for the last couple of years. It's the old call out tree we used to, but this seems to be a lot more professional, I guess.
So was this is who I called on the weekend recently?
Yes, our phones are switched to Doppler after 5 p.m. And for water, streets, light.
It was a very,
quick response.
very professional and helpful.
Well, yeah.
call. Yeah, so I'm just saying my personal experience of late is good.
That was a motion.
Yes,
Huh.
and so moved.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve resolution F 409, the 5-year contract with Doppler. Any final questions or comments? Mark?
Yeah, just a quick comment, same as Councilman Teresa. I had to use it recently and it worked fabulously. So I'm in full agreement that this is a great product and serves our city very well.
Wonderful. You have a motion and a second? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Thank you, Steve. Resolution F 409 passes. Dave Lucas, resolution F 416, the amended Eastern Washington University interlocal parking agreement. Go ahead, Dave.
Yes, Honorable Mayor Grover and City Council, I know usually I'm bringing a grant or money to you. This is an opportunity to really, we spend a little bit, hopefully to continue making a fair amount. It's an amendment to the Eastern Washington University parking agreement. We did not redo that contract, even though it goes back to 2002. That is a very good contract for our benefit. We make a fair amount from that. So this was an amendment to upgrade that to an automated system that will hopefully be better for both them, us, and the citizens of Cheney when they're ticketed. So this will hopefully provide much more responsive opportunity. So whereas now we take the paper tickets, they need to be entered, and then so there's a delay in that process. In addition, obviously time, for both them and us. So this would ideally be an opportunity for us to participate with the upgrades that they're instituting and again, at the cost that's listed in there.
Thanks, Dave. Any questions for Dave on this amended contract? No?
So this is what we've been waiting for because it's been kind of in place,
Yes.
right? Make it efficient.
Yes, and we've been working on, it's been a slow process to get it going and through, but yes, Councilmember Schitt, yes.
It's going to be an improvement.
We hope so.
That's good. Thank you.
That almost sounds like.
That could be, yeah, I don't know. Is there any other questions on it?
I think we're good.
Mr. Mayor?
416.
Yes, go ahead, Mark.
I just wanted to mention, we have talked about this in our Public Safety Subcommittee meeting, and I think it would definitely benefit both sides and our citizens very well. And so I would like to make the motion to approve resolution F 416.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve resolution F 406, the amended contract with Eastern for parking. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you, Dave. Resolution F 460.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Okay, Steve, you're back up. Resolution F 417. This is the F Street to G Street fiber optic replacement project. Hit it.
Yes, this project is with our on-call contractor, 0DB. There's approximately 1,100 feet of fiber between F and G Street that need to be replaced. Lots of squirrel damage in multiple places. It appears that when they did this fiber years ago, they put something tasty in the chemical. Squirrels like. But the new stuff that they put up is squirrel proof. We need this.
Squirrel
Sustain the
resistant?
system. It's not dipped in peanut butter, I guess, but this will sustain the connectivity we need. We can't afford to have this fail on us. Their bid was for $22,416. The funding, this was not funded, but it will come out of the capital funds reappropriated. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thanks, Steve. Any questions for Steve?
Scraps don't do squirrels. Apparently. I think we have to do that.
For no questions, so. Yeah.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve F 417.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve resolution F 417, the fiber optic replacement from F to G Street. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Thank you, Steve. Resolution F 417 passes. Oh, wait, there's more. Resolution F 418, the historic registry nominee for 220 College Avenue.
Yeah, we have our historical preservation committee very busy. We had 2 nominations this past go around, and the first one is 220 College Avenue. It is a place right on the corner. You may know it as you're going up College. It has a large, a very large wraparound porch. Went through the process and they are making the recommendation to city council to add this to the historic preservation register. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Todd. Questions for Todd? No? Okay. What's your pleasure? There's no-
For passage of this item.
Second. Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve resolution F418, the historic registry nominee 220 College Avenue. Any final questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Resolution F418 passes. And we've got another one, 228 West Fifth.
That is correct.
Resolution
This
F419.
is more of a rancher style. It's 228 West Fifth, same process. It was nominated. And the historical preservation is making recommendations to add this to the register.
Thanks, Todd. And Teresa.
I would move approval on this one also. And one other thing I would just add is it might be nice to, in the applications, when they come to us, to have a picture of the house.
Oh, okay.
Just FYI, in the future, it's not a big deal, just a thought.
Second. Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve resolution F419, the nomination for historic register for 228 West Fifth. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Thank you, Todd. Resolution F419 passes. Moving on, we've got resolution F420. This is the naming of the North Spokane Corridor Bridge in the memory of Mr. Cody Traber, Chief.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Good evening, council. I was gonna let Deputy Chief Anderson present this one, but to be honest with you, it's a little too close to home. So on August 25th, 2021, Lieutenant Paramedic Cody Scott Traber had passed away in the line of duty when he inadvertently fell from the Wandamere Bridge up in North Spokane while in the duty of an emergency response. Cody was not just a full-time lieutenant paramedic with Spokane County Fire District 9, but he was a resident and a volunteer firefighter for several years with the City of Cheney. Got to serve beside Jeff for many years during that tenure. So honored to ask you folks on behalf of Fire District 9 family, what they're trying to do is they're trying to submit letters and documentations to the Commission for Department of Transportation to be able to rename or to name the Wandamere Bridge in Cody's honor. So what they've requested is that I put it before you all resolution, ask the mayor to sign a memorandum. So I could pass that back to Spokane County Fire District 9 so they can package all that up and send that back to the commission for their consideration to name that bridge in honor of Lieutenant Paramedic Cody Scott Traber and his sacrifice.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments for Chief Jenkins?
I'd make a motion to approve, resolution F420.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve resolution F420, the naming of the North Spokane Corridor Bridge in memory of Cody Traber. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you, Chief. Resolution F420 passes, and we'll get that letter out ASAP.
I have it right here with your signature on it, sir, and I'm honored to pass that back to Mr. Brown. Thank you.
Still up, resolution F421. This is the Safer Grant Award. Go ahead, Chief.
Yes, sir. So a little over 3 months ago, I asked for your blessing to go ahead and hire a grant writer and to submit for what they call the Safer Grant, which is basically status of firefighter staffing, federal funding for that. A little over 3 weeks ago, we received a confirmation that we were awarded said grant. A little bit of a blessing and a curse, and to be honest with you, it was a big request. I initially was going to ask for 2, maybe 3 firefighters, but the grant writer felt that we would be more successful asking for 5. 4 from the grant, the 5th firefighter coming out of the City of Cheney Fire Department's coffers through overtime savings. It's created quite a challenge, to be honest with you. Do we need the bodies? Absolutely. Every department, especially within the City of Cheney, needs more personnel. We're all working 2 or 3 hats, if you will, every one of us. But at the end of the day, to bear and shoulder the burden of $650,000 into salaries and wages at the end of the 3 years is almost insurmountable to think about. Plus, with the federal government shutdown, I don't have any ability right now to reach out to FEMA and ask for questions or for clarification. And so, you know, while I'm honored that you allowed me to put in for this grant, and I'm even more honored that we received the largest grant in Cheney Fire Department's history of a little over $1.1 million. I'm recommending to you all tonight that we potentially consider deferring this so I can reach out for some clarification with FEMA on a few things. Deferring this to where we potentially could spend a little bit more time seeing if we can't figure out a way to get a cost recovery. So we don't have to shoulder the burden of those wages at the end of the 3-year mark. I think I'll pause with that and see if you all have any questions for me.
Thanks, Chief. Go ahead.
I know there was a limited amount of time to accept this grant. Where does that put us if we defer this?
When I received the official notification 3 weeks ago, they said that we had 30 days to accept or deny the grant, or we're automatically in default of the grant. And that sunset is October 25th, unless we were to submit or request a recommendation for an extension. So right now with the federal government shutdown, I did receive communication through our grant writer, not through FEMA, that the government is shut down and all those grants are currently on hold or frozen until the government opens back up again, at which I don't know if those conditions are going to change. So, you know, if we do submit a request for an extension, I don't know if there'll be anybody on the other end of that computer for FEMA to answer said extension request. October 25th is the current sunset.
We talked about it in Finance Committee a little bit, and we have some ideas about possible options or opportunities where we might be able to get some money to for the match. But hopefully if they allow the extension, we have a little more time to do that. We're talking, 30 or 60 days is all. And since they are closed down, he's going to reach out to his project manager, because he's not sure that person is there, but get a request in to, get back to us about just kind of a delay until we can shuffle things around a little bit. So
if for some reason, just as a question, I don't know how this works, but if for some reason they say you can't get a delay or something, are we able to call another session to discuss this prior to council meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
We can always call a special meeting.
Okay. I wasn't sure how that worked. Okay. Thank you.
So what you're looking for us is a motion to defer. Is that it?
Just a comment, I guess, where I appreciate your work on this, Chief Jenkins, and your candor. I'm not convinced this is the right vehicle. FEMA is just a bear cat to deal with, and who knows what's gonna happen, as we noted from a prior presentation, but well, I don't argue staffing is an issue. There might be a better way to do it. I don't know. But this one's, we end up asking more, and that's what grants do sometimes. And grant seeking is not always the most cost-effective way to address this. So I would just say I would support a request for extension and deferral of this, but not on the, at least from my point of view, auspices that it's an automatic go with at the end of that period. I think there's still some time for discussion. So my comment.
Thanks. Any other questions for Chief Jenkins?
I have one real quick. If we can't get a hold of them to ask for an extension, how likely is it that we would be able to get a hold of them? And you might not have the answer to this, but to accept this grant, because we got it and then things shut down. And so now we're kind of in a limbo of, can we even accept this, or can we ask for an extension? How likely do you think it is that we will even reach somebody to get an answer prior to that October 25th deadline?
Well, I feel fairly confident based on the email traffic I received from our grant writer that we can't accept or deny right now. So there's no ability for me to go into the FEMA.gov website. I've already tried that and validated that website is not currently operational. So regardless if we wanted to accept or deny, I can't go in and do so within FEMA.gov. Now, as far as reaching out to our project manager at FEMA to request an extension, I have not attempted that yet. I wanted your all's direction on that, which I'm happy to do that first thing tomorrow. But I truly feel in my heart that this is probably the best thing to do. I'd rather get it right than to get it fast, because we're talking about humans that were potentially looking for a career opportunity that I would not want to have to lay off in 3 years. And we're talking about a lot of money that we have no way as of right now to figure out how we're going to fund these positions into perpetuity.
Thanks, Jackie. Paul?
So if we ask, what's the extension, the length that we would be allowed?
I don't know the answer
We
to
don't
that.
have-
It
we
just said to
don't know that.
request an extension.
So the motion would be for the chief to seek an extension and defer action on this item until he would report back.
Right, until further notice.
Yeah. I think that would work, and see what kind of response you get.
And also, if I could add, and also just seek out other funding opportunities through the state or other grant opportunities in the state for the match portion. Something like that.
Well, this is only gonna work for this resolution, I would think.
Right.
So if that falls to the wayside, yeah, that would be the next discussion we have. Something,
Yeah, true.
how to do that.
So I think the motion would be to defer F-421 with a request to make maybe an up to 60-day request for an extension through FEMA.
Second.
And that's up for discussion too. If anybody feels 60 days is not sufficient or insufficient.
I think the only concern I have with 60 days is then we're pushing the first of the year, and we're trying to set budget ahead of that. So that's
But that's
up
good,
to
though.
60
I mean,
days.
up
could be
to
good for us
60
too.
days is exactly when we're gonna
Yeah.
be doing the budget. So it's coincidentally better.
And it could be good if there's some
If there's some
remnant
options.
money
Absolutely.
at the end. I don't, like I said, that's, your guess is as good as ours
Yeah.
of what's gonna happen at the federal government.
So the 3 years that FEMA chips in, does that start when they're hired or the calendar year?
It's my understanding January the 1st to maximize the grant, January 1st for 3 years. It's a 65-page document from FEMA that I have not thoroughly read through, but what I've been able to gather out of that is it's a calendar year start.
And those are reimbursable. They are not upfront money.
Or would it be the federal year? Federal budget year? Do we know?
Jen, from the last time we did this, is that, and I don't recall that they started at the first of the year. I don't know if you recall if you started then at the very first, but my recollection was that they were hired and then it is a reimbursement grant. So you pay, and then you send those in about quarterly for reimbursement and you get that piece of reimbursement back. So the city has to have the ability to fund this. And then you get a little bit back to help reimburse some of that, but I don't recall it being at the very first unless you do, Jeff.
It gives you a little bit of flexibility where or hired, so we're hired in February, so it would be a little bit of terms but also compensate. They say it's by month, but really, like Cindy and I were talking about, the money's probably more likely quarterly.
And I can certainly go back through the notice of funding opportunity and see if I can't tease that out. And report back to you all via email or something within the next 24 hours.
That we don't even know when the money would start is probably a good indicator that we need to hold on.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a quick comment. We've been talking about this a lot in the Public Safety Subcommittee meeting. It's a topic of conversation often in our committee meeting because the fire department is in need of being at a minimum staffing level. And currently, we're not even at a minimum staffing level. And so from a philosophical standpoint, I think as a city, we need to think about if we're going to have a department in our city, we need to be able to staff it at least at a minimum. And so we've been trying to think of all kinds of creative ways to handle that with the fire department because their call volume has been increasing rapidly year to year. And so they're noticing a much larger workload with the same amount of people. And so I think that this is a critical conversation for us as a city council and might even behoove us to have either a closed session or executive session to really talk about this as a city council and be able to really hash it out together, because I think it is essential for us to move forward with a fire department that can handle the call volume that they now are receiving as a city. So I think it's a good idea to move it back a little bit and have those really good conversations about how to staff our fire department in an effective manner. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, I do have a motion and a second to defer resolution F 421 until further notice, probably no later than 60 days, I think we talked about, right? And for Chief Jenkins to work on trying to request an extension for this grant opportunity. Any other questions or comments? Appreciate the discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Thank you, Chief. We will defer resolution F 421. Okay, Cindy, you're up. So resolution F 422 is some lodging tax dollar disbursements potentially.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Lodging Tax Committee did meet and reviewed 4 applications we had received. It's quite a lot for that committee to review. There were 2 that the committee was very much in favor of, and then there were 2 they really, well, they didn't recommend for approval at this time. So the 2 that were the EW Homecoming Street Dance, which, as you all know, Homecoming was last week. So you can look at Cindy for that one. Came in while I was gone in August. And then in September, I was very hit and miss, as you all know. And it was brought to my attention very close to Homecoming. Discussed it with Councilmember Labar on what she thought about that. We talked about it as a committee. The committee was very in favor of it. I did point out that the mayor's always in favor of everything that we can do to bring Eastern activities down into our community, and they approved that as recommended for funding. It has already taken place, so I'd be asking for that after the fact, and you know I don't like to do that. But in that case, I really felt like that was the best thing for us to do. And Councilmember Labar agreed with that. The second one is our annual Holiday Hoopla, very popular event in town. Holiday Hoopla actually is asking for a lot less this year. I think they have probably really tied that down to what works well. And that's what they're really focusing on. So the EW Street Dance was $7,000. That was also done through CMA, by the way. Holiday Hoopla, $9,975. Those were recommended for approval. The other 2, one was a very interesting request. It was from the Cheney Free Press. And they wanted the committee to advertise in some of their publications that they put out around the area as far as bringing people in. Though that wouldn't necessarily qualify for funding because they are not a nonprofit agency. The committee was very intrigued with that idea. I explained that Councilmember Bartels has had this idea for a community magazine, and so they would like to see perhaps the city kind of make a decision on what we'd like to do for promoting the city on different areas, and they would be very interested in seeing an application for that. The second one was from the Spokane Sports Commission, and that was really very interesting as well. They want to do a study to see, using Eastern facilities, what kind of sporting events they could attract. The concern with the committee there was that that didn't really tie into tourism immediately, since it was just a feasibility study. And they would be very interested in seeing something from the Spokane Sports Commission that brought an event to town, but they were uncomfortable with the feasibility study. Perfect. So what resolution 422 is actually granting funding for the first 2 I spoke of and not recommending the second 2.
Could you remind us on the hockey tournaments that have been here, was that Spokane Sports?
It was not.
It-
That was the hockey people that came forward with that.
It's
They're
an
looking at
association,
specifically?
a certain group of kids that play.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're
Not
looking at-
affiliated with.
The Spokane Sports was looking at the track specifically and what that could bring forward in events that would be used, the Eastern's track.
For EWU.
So it wasn't like swimming meets and
No.
hockey. It was, okay, that's too bad.
Yeah.
That makes sense why
Yeah.
you guys
I
came to
know
that
they-
conclusion.
Oh, okay. Questions for Cindy? What's your pleasure?
If there are no any other questions, Your Honor, I would move for approval of resolution F 422.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve resolution F 422 for lodging tax. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We have one abstention. Ayes have it. Thank you. Resolution F 422 passes. Another page. Thanks, Todd. Okay, resolution F 423. This is the secondary manufacturers national opioid settlement. There's a whole
So
bunch of these coming in.
just come occasionally, and then all of a sudden it seems like we have a few. So I now have a great contact with the AG's office that as these are coming forward and getting these things signed digitally. So the city always receives the same percentage of a settlement. So when there is a settlement with these manufacturers, so the state of Washington has joined with those, and the state keeps 50% of that, and the other 50% gets distributed down to the counties and then the cities within those counties that have joined the settlement, as we have. So these come in little bits at a time. It sounds like big money, but they do come in little bits at a time. And so we grab those. I put that money in reserve, so you can't use that to buy other things with. It stays just an opioid money. Councilmember Bealock sits on that committee where they discuss that. There is an annual report that's required that the city presents to the opioid board, which we have done that now. And I will say in budgeting this year, both police and fire came up with some very interesting ideas on some use of that money. As of right now, I think there's about $185,000, probably a little bit more now because we've received a little more sitting in that fund. And the mayor's direction is to use that when possible for those purposes that are allowable. So it sits down in a little reserve fund, and the police and fire, they can send a memo to the mayor and say, hey, this is what I'd like to do. This is what we think this can be used for. Once that's agreed upon, all they do is shoot that to me. This is approved. I put the money up in their budget immediately and they can use it. There's not a whole lot of red tape. So that's what this is. This is just accepting of the secondary national manufacturer settlement, resolution 423, please, F 423.
And just a note, when these things come in, there's a real quick turnaround.
There
That's
is.
why I had to
He's
sign
already
these
signed this
quickly.
one as well.
Thank you, Cindy. Questions for Cindy? Receiving money.
I'd make a motion to approve resolution F 423.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve resolution F 423, the national opioid settlement money. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you, Cindy. Resolution F 423 passes. Mr. Curley, F 424, the Hibbard Park Playground Installation Project. Hit it, Dave.
Hello, Mayor and Council. So we are proposing to remove one of the two play structures at Hibbard Park. I think the play structures were installed in the late 1990s, and we would replace it with the play structure that was removed from Haglund Park during the Cheney Aquatic Center project to make way for the sewer service line to the new bathroom out there. The lowest responsive bid we had was from Bacon Concrete, and the funds for this project will be coming out of Capital Reserve. Any questions?
Thanks, Dan. Questions for Dan?
Is the, Dan, the EMF or whatever that, the covering, ground cover?
Those are the engineered wood fiber chips,
Oh,
basically.
go
if you
back
have
to
a
fiber
big,
chips?
Playground chips, yeah.
Thanks. Question, Danielle?
Yeah.
Anybody? Mark, Jackie, anything?
We gotta use that. You still have the instructions, I'll put that old one back together? Is that where we got bacon doing it? Does that look like a?
That's why there's a little bit of contingency money.
Yeah.
It should be good there.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to try that, but I would move for approval of resolution F-424.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion, a second to approve resolution F-424, the Hibbard Park Playground Installation Project. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thanks, Dan. Resolution F-424 passes. And now we have a couple ordinances. Dan, or Steve, you're up first. This is ordinance Y-91, the Forged Fiber 37 AT&T franchise license.
Okay, before I get started, I'd like to welcome and recognize Elizabeth Walker. She's counsel for Forge Fiber 37. So thank you for joining us on Zoom and your patience. And
Thank you.
Answer any questions we have at the end.
Okay.
This ordinance grants a franchise for fiber and cable to Forge Fiber, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of AT&T. If you remember, AT&T is purchasing Lumen CenturyLink's fiber within the city, and that should close by the end of the year is what the hope is. We had the first reading here at the second session in September, late September, and what I'm requesting tonight is the second and third reading. Are there any questions?
Have you received any comments on this since the first reading?
I have not, and I'm not aware of any.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead, Mark.
Steve, I did have one quick question. Is this for the main line coming into the city or for them to put fiber all over the city? I couldn't remember.
It's for they're purchasing the existing Lumen CenturyLink fiber. And then they also have it in the neighborhoods. There's CenturyLink vaults. So they may distribute more through pole attachments. A pole attachment agreement is coming. They did not ask for one, but I thought it'd be prudent to have one in place. So I don't know if Elizabeth knows the plans on that, if they want to hang more fiber and cable throughout the city. This franchise grants it to them, so I didn't speculate on that, and I don't have an answer. My assumption is they would.
So, do you want me to address that?
Yes, please.
So I don't know of plans for attaching to poles. I do know that they, the first stage of this would be putting in place the entitlements to own that Lumen, those Lumen assets when that sale closes. So then the expansion plans, I don't think are set in terms, but the idea is to increase fiber connection to homes and residences. So that's the ultimate goal.
You're only looking for the second reading.
You want second and third?
Oh, we want second, and third.
Yes, that was my request, the second and third.
Does this action then, the Lumen franchise agreement goes away? Does this supersede that, or do we still have their franchise agreement?
They're retaining some.
Lumen's retaining their telecommunications, so their phone lines.
Oh,
So we'd have to have concurrent.
we're adding another franchisee. City.
Yes.
All right. Join the party. It's been getting to be crowded out there. But as we noted before, kind of bound. Can't deny it.
There are no more questions.
Were there any? Mark? Jack?
Yeah, just one quick one for Elizabeth, I guess. Elizabeth, is AT&T purchasing lumens nationally? All of their assets?
Not everywhere, but in certain parts of the United States, in certain regions, they are.
Okay.
But but what Steve and pardon, Mayor and City Council members, what Steve said was correct. Lumen will be retaining certain assets, and then AT&T will be or Forge Fiber, their subsidiary, will be taking over the portion that's gonna go to, to the homes.
If there are no more questions, Your Honor, I would move for the second reading of ordinance number Y 91 in title and summary form only, and the second be considered the third, and it be placed before us for final passage.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second for the second reading of ordinance Y 91, and that the second be considered the third and final reading in title and summary form only, and that it be placed before you all for final passage. Any opportunity, any more questions or comments? Oh, did you have something? Dana?
Yeah, I would, listening to the comments earlier, I would love to explore some of those options as we continue to move forward with these agreements that we kind of have to pass. So
Yeah.
it'd be wonderful to explore those.
Okay. The motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Shelley, go ahead.
Ordinance 191, an ordinance of the City of Cheney, Washington, granting Forge Fiber 37 LLC a non-exclusive franchise to construct, operate, and maintain fiber optic telecommunication system within the City of Cheney, Washington, and setting forth the conditions accompanying the grant of the franchise.
Thank you. Councilmember Overhauser.
Aye.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartels.
Aye.
Councilmember Bealock.
Aye.
Councilmember Navarro.
Aye.
Councilmember Labar.
Aye.
And Councilmember Postuma.
Reluctantly, aye.
Yes. Thank you. Our ordinance Y 91 passes. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
And finally, ordinance Y 93, this is the amended conflict of public defender. Ordinance. Go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Mayor Grover, City Council. Really, this ordinance hadn't been updated since 2014. And when our current conflict attorney agency left, we struggled, and I had worked with current city attorney and former city administrator and some others outside trying to find attorneys that were interested. And what we found in that research was from 2014 over the last decade, the price has gone up and may change in the future. So what I'm asking is that we just remove the price from the ordinance, and that allows us to then contract as it comes up with the conflict attorneys. We have an attorney now, and I believe he will stay with us until he's a semi-retired attorney, but we will at some point cross this bridge again and be back to this versus reapproaching again at that point in time to say, well, now I need to change the ordinance again. We would just then go out and work through the city to contract with them as appropriate. So just asking essentially to remove that $250 amount from that was put in there in 2014.
Excuse me. Thank you. And are you looking for all three readings?
I would defer to yourself, Your Honorable Mayor. If you are comfortable with doing all three, if you guys would rather, I'm happy to come back at another.
The council, but okay. Thanks, Dave. Any questions for Dave? Go ahead.
Just on. So as open-ended, does this come back to the mayor under his authority for anything less than 10 grand? It wouldn't come back to council necessarily then?
Would probably be, how much is it per year?
It's it's usually less than 3,000
Yeah.
a year. So we have six-ish that is what I've seen historically. Last year it was even fewer than that. It was only
Yeah.
4 to 5. So it's when the current public defense.
I got that.
So it's under the 10, it's under,
Yeah,
it's
so
in my authority.
Tips we come back to the mayor then, and then we can beat up on him.
Yes.
If it's too much.
If it's too much.
How's
Right,
that?
right,
All right.
And I've really worked with the city attorney. He's
Getting
been a
good at
big
getting
help.
beat
and
up,
We've gone
for
out
sure.
to work that. If it comes up, I mean, it will come up eventually again. I just,
No, it's a good idea.
I'll be dead, hopefully. Hope it's up.
There's a-
Yep, go with it.
I'm good with it.
Your Honor, if there are no more questions, I would move for the passage of, the first reading of ordinance Y 93 in title and summary form only, and the first be considered the second, and second be considered the third, and it be placed before us for final passage.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second for the first reading of ordinance Y 93 in title and summary form only. That the first reading be considered the second and the second reading be considered the third and final, and then it be placed before you all for final passage. Any final comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Nay. Shelley, you're up again.
Ordinance Y 93, an ordinance amending chapter 2.33 entitled Public Defender for the purpose of updating section 2.33.040 compensation for conflict public defender.
Thank you, Shelley. Councilmember Overhauser, Councilmember Schmidt.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartel.
Aye.
Councilmember Bealock.
Aye.
Councilmember Nazaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Labar.
Aye.
And Councilmember Postuma.
Aye.
Wonderful. Thank you. Where am I at?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council.
Ordinance Y 93 passes. Got it. Okay, that concludes our action items. Todd, do we have any staff reports? Any updates? I think
Oh, yeah, as of Friday, right? Thursday night, Friday. Thursday night, Friday morning, burn ban is being
burn ban.
restricted. We're getting pretty close with the pool closeout, and we're getting pretty close with the closeout of the what we call task one, which is the wastewater treatment plant final treatment building. We're moving along. So looks like DW Excavation will be with us throughout the winter. They'll probably be shut down. They do have a lot going on, but hopefully we can get them buttoned up before the snow falls.
Mayor?
Thanks. Yes, go ahead.
So I just want to point out to everybody that next council meeting will be our first budget meeting.
Yes.
And we will be discussing taxes, we'll be discussing revenue sources, and we will look at all the general government, which makes up all the general fund people. You'll see police, fire, court, parks and recreation, administration, and finance. It's going to be a long night. But we're going to shrink our presentations down till we give you really good information. And so hopefully we'll all be very alert and learn a lot. But it does start as I get these. So the mayor's been meeting with departments. As I get them, I'm trying to get the most recent expenses in there so you can see exactly where we are. And then I'll pop them out. I will email everybody when it's on your OneNote. You might have to close your OneNote and reopen it again, but I'll send you an email reminding you how to do that. And then you just need to call me if you can't get into it. But you should be seeing police and fire for sure pretty soon. So you can start looking at that stuff. That's good. Thank you.
And the goal, as always, is that we'll present a balanced budget,
Yes.
but it is your budget.
Yes.
Plenty of opportunity to have discussions.
It's just shrinking it the way we're doing. So you'll hear all this then. The first council meeting will be Public Works and Light. That leaves that last council meeting in November for discussion, which we haven't had before. So you'll get to discuss and look and we can kind of see if there's anything differently that wants to be done. The goal is to have this budget approved again, the first council meeting in December, so it can be published and available to go and ready to go on January 1st. We'll have a compensation ordinance about that time as well, and all those other year-end things that we do in December. But that's where we are with the budget right now.
Thanks, Cindy. I don't have anything to add. Teresa?
Thank you.
Paul?
Well, that was just a comment. I appreciate coming forward regarding county planning and our comp plan and the Growth Management Act and the urban growth area. I've seen some of the correspondence with the county, and I have to agree they're being somewhat recalcitrant on dealing with this city council put together a resolution with our intentions, and it's just being totally ignored.
Well, the planning commission, the city council and the county's own planning commission approved that act, development and recommended it. So I don't know what's going on with the county commissioners.
Yeah, thanks. And the intent here is back in 92, when the Growth Management Act came into play, it clearly, to me, was number one, Urban Planning Employment Act for planners, number one. But number two, they gave way too much authority to the county, and they're still exercising and holding that over us. And I don't know what it would take. We tried to, well, number one, I think we still need to get our map with Nexus cleaned up and and have our notes on that thing, so the message is clear. We don't wanna develop south of the doggone railroad tracks. And I don't care what they do with it, but we should be able to have some sway on what a little 10-acre piece, give me a break. Anyhow, I don't have any strong feelings about that. I'm just comment, but I know you'll do what you can, Mayor. If you need anything from me, let me know.
Okay, thanks.
We have a Public Works Committee meeting, 7 a.m. Thursday, Mark. You with us?
Yeah, I will need an alternate. I've requested one also for public safety tomorrow, so hopefully those are
I'll be it.
being
Oh.
filled by someone. Yeah.
Danielle just bailed you out.
All right. Thanks, Danielle.
You're welcome.
You're the best.
That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
I think we solved this. I can't make the SWAC meeting tomorrow. I think Teresa, thank you for SWAC.
Oh, sure.
I've been the planning commission liaison for some time now. I went to the planning commission yesterday. And I guess I do see it a little bit different. I'll jump into that, but we have a full planning commission again now. 3 new members, Cameron McCormick, Tom Jones, and Shane Niles. Cameron's a geography professor. Tom Jarms owns Jarms, and Shane Niles has been a building official here for, I think, 12 years. Is that 8 to 12 years? So those are 3 new planning commission members. We haven't met as a planning commission, I think, since February or March. So a lot of what Nexus's presentation was to catch the new planning commission members up. I guess I just want to throw out some of my concerns about this less than 10-acre development. You know, I know it's important to a few people in this room. One's running for council again, and I know Margot, you're probably part of this LLC, but in my position, I got to look at it objectively. And if you look at the potential traffic impacts that development, even as small as it is causing, I don't know how you can overcome that. And we've stated that, we've talked about that. This city paid for the traffic impact study. And I just, if you take a step back, and I encourage every council member on here to take a step back, look at those traffic impacts. Paradise Road, Normal Park Road, those are half roads. County maintains half those roads. Paradise, the railroad crossing at 904. There's no queuing time. That's an issue. Citizens, taxpayers shouldn't have to subsidize your development to fix that transportation network. I believe that our comp plan looks at infill, and I appreciate the infill. So the map you're seeing is no glorious map. It is a glorious map because it's our property boundary. It's the city limits is what that Nexus map looks like. So I just, in my opinion, I don't think a spot zone is appropriate in a comp plan amendment. I think that we're getting overshadowed right now by this 10-acre development. I'd like to take a step back and have a planning commission focus on the planning update for our community. Nexus has brought forth a bunch of good ideas from economic development, TODs, which is transit oriented destinations. We've talked about we've talked about a new transit stop by the library. I think that's a great spot directly across from the mill. It's our 20-year forecast. And it's very clear, if anybody actually reads the land quality analysis, that our forecasted growth can be accommodated in our city limits. So again, I would ask every council member, take a step back, be objective, look at the transportation impacts solely. To me, it doesn't make sense. And we have a lot of things that we have to fund here, a lot of things. And it doesn't make sense to me to spend a bunch of money on streets on Paradise and Normal Park Road when there's other things that are priorities for the city. So that's my soapbox. Thank you.
Thanks, Vince. Jackie.
Yeah, so a couple things. One, I want to kind of piggyback off of what Paul and Teresa were talking about. I thought we made it pretty clear at that last meeting with Nexus that we wanted to see a map with that included. As far as the traffic study concerns, there were a few of us that weren't on the council when that was published. If we could get a copy of that for review, that would be greatly appreciated. Because I've received conflicting information about that traffic study, so I'd like to have a chance to read it myself. And then the other thing is why I'm not there in person, but Cheney has its newest resident. So just wanted to say hello, and I should hopefully be there at our next meeting in person once he's a little bit older than 5 days. So, but other than that, that's all I got to report.
Thank you, Jackie. Congratulations. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, election's coming up in a few weeks. Make sure you're registered.
I would just like to talk about a couple things that have happened in the city. The homecoming was a big hit. It was always nice to have it downtown. Great collaboration with Eastern. And then we have another one coming up, the trunk or treat. It's our 6th annual trunk or treat. I don't know, that we collaborate with Eastern. And that's going to be at the ROTC parking lot. And then Spooky Science will happen. That's going to be on Friday, the 25th from 4 to 7. And that's always a really fun turnout for the community. So yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, several things. I would also like to say congratulations to the newest Cheney resident. Pretty handsome little dude. So great job, Jackie. And then also another great fall thing is October 26th. There's a Candy Corner Carnival at 300 North 2nd. Everyone's invited in town. It's a great time to bring kids out for games and fun. And then also just wanted to mention really quick that I will also need an alternate for the public safety meeting tomorrow. So if there's somebody that could volunteer for that one, that'd be great as well. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Mark. That concludes almost everything. The next item of business is going to only include us and Todd, Mike, Cindy, Jerry. So if because we're going into a closed session, so if I could ask everybody to exit, we are not planning on taking any action after this. 10 minutes. Are we 5? 15. Okay, 15 minutes. Yep. So I won't. Take her 3 minutes, so 8:15.
Hey, Vince, Paul, I'm already covering Jackie at public safety tomorrow. So if any of you three can cover for Mark.
Who's there? So
It's at 1. It's at 1 p.m. Sure, at the fire department.
The fire department?
Right, yeah.
So,
fire department.
One.
And then we
It's
Swag
over
free.
before the baseball game starts.
Well, they usually run about 2 to, we're like a public works.